Sandy, we saw your name up front when you walked in. You know, this was a big part of what you wanted to do. So why was it important for you to have that individual touch, that donation, as part of this process?
Well, I certainly wanted to signal my individual commitment to academics and the total development of our students, and I certainly wanted to encourage others to do the same and to contribute to the project. And I felt it was really important for me to make that individual gift.
How much of this design was based on feedback from students and academic advisors and coaches?
It was definitely based on a large amount of feedback from our Morgan Center staff and our director as to this was about putting all of our academic support efforts from a Morgan Center standpoint together, and so the design in terms of how the work and the advising and the support will flow is all from them, and obviously their expertise also comes from student feedback and student athlete feedback. So I would say that the design and the way that this center will operate is certainly based on those who will use it, both staff and students most heavily.
What kind of feedback have you gotten from the student athletes the last 2 weeks as they settle in here and get used to it?
It's all been really positive. It's been kind of that wow, and they don't say it, but I certainly read into their feeling that, you know, wow, academics is really important, and they know that coming to Penn State. But again, this is a physical manifestation of that. This is a physical statement about our commitment to academics that obviously we support in so many other ways. But facilities are a big part of that and very visible, obviously.
What's the price tag on something like this? And can you speak to you talked about facilities, pumping money into the academic end of it as opposed to just stadiums and arenas and that sort of thing. How the importance of that?
This project is about $7.2 million, absolutely. Again, I think having this project really kind of be first speaks to the priority, the urgency, if you will, and our commitment to the academic and the student welfare and development side of our student-athlete experience here at Penn State. Yes, it's going to be important that we have that same kind of commitment to the conditions for success for the athletic part of it, for the medical part, the welfare part. There's so many aspects, obviously, to a student's experience, a student-athlete's experience here at Penn State. But I think it was, in my mind and in my priorities, very important that we get this part right first, and that it signal that priority.
How far along was the project when you got here, and what sort of impact did you have on this?
Well, as Russ said, it's been about 2 years in the making. When I arrived, the conversation was around consolidation from those 4 or 5 areas that we had been providing support from. The conversation was about consolidation. When I got here, I immediately committed to that from a funding standpoint, and then that's when the design got going in earnest.
If this is first project going on, we see and hear the construction everywhere else. What's next? What else? What other projects are going on?
Well, obviously we've got a phase of the Lash building that is going and actually should be completed hopefully early fall, and then we've got the master plan that we're in the middle of, that we hope to unveil in early fall, and again, that will be concepts. That will not be design. That'll be concepts around projects. And then once we do that, it will all depend on funding, and a lot of that will depend on philanthropy as to which projects then go and go first. Some of it will be actual physical sequencing, that we can't build this until we build this, or until we tear this down, or till. But most of it will depend on funding, whether that's philanthropy or most of these facilities will be combination philanthropy, athletic department, capital funds, and or debt financing.
Specifically, Beaver Stadium. everybody's waiting. I know you just mentioned it, but is there any update you can give us on what you're thinking there?
I foreshadowed earlier this summer that enough of the work had been done in the master plan that it was very clear that was going to be a renovation, and that's really where we are. Right now.
The ability to repurpose an athletic building kind of space for an academic thing. Can you speak to that a little bit here?
Well, I mean, it's incredible space, as you all have just walked through, and it's. I think it's the perfect location. Obviously, it was the previous ice arena, an indoor sports complex. It's currently being used both with the Morgan Academic Center and then what's called temporary surge or swing space. I believe it's chemistry right now that is in the back part of the building, and will continue to be as academic buildings are renovated or constructed across campus. That will continue to be used for academic purposes.
When you got here, was Greenberg still in some capacity? I mean, it was still here, right? Did you ever go through it? I know James said he had before and was shocked that it was like right here.
I had not been through it when it had ice.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was mentioned during the tour that the one button studio here was mirrored off of what was at the Knowledge Commons.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have much interaction with Dean Dewey and her staff, and if so, how helpful was that?
I personally did not, but we did from a design and implementation standpoint to ask them about their experience and the usefulness to students. And again, part of the student feedback was a need for that kind of technology. We've got a one-button studio, and we're certainly going to see how that's utilized with the possibility of certainly doing that.